Welcome to Self Love Chats, the podcast where choosing yourself stops being a someday and becomes today.
We're two friends who clawed our way out of survival mode and we're still becoming her right alongside you.
Whether you're just starting your self love journey or learning how to trust yourself again, you're in the right place.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's have the conversations we all need to, but don't have enough.
Last week, we talked about survival mode and why so many women get stuck there. This conversation feels like the natural next step because survival mode eventually leads to exhaustion.
It definitely does. And the crazy part is, most of us don't even realize we're exhausted. We're just calling ourselves lazy.
Let's start with a question. You ever called yourself lazy when you actually were burned out? Before we dive in, let's do a quick check in. How are you really feeling this week? The answer you give everybody else, the real answer.
Yes, because sometimes we get so used to functioning on autopilot that we don't stop long enough to ask ourselves that question. Like, how are you doing? How is your mind? How is your body? How is your spirit? These are questions we really need to ask ourselves, to really kind of dig deep and figure out why we may be feeling this way, why we may feel like we're being lazy.
I think that you ask yourself, you're not able to internally look at yourself and give yourself a check. We're always checking on other people. How many times you ask your husband, how is he doing? How many times do you ask your kids, how are they doing? How many times do you ask, oh, your friends, everyone else, how are they doing? But when was the last time you actually internally asked yourself, how am I really doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
And have been taught is that our worth is connected to our productivity. The more we do, the more valuable we are. That's what we've always been raised to think. That's what our parents have taught us. As women, when you're raised, it's like that the kitchen is cleaned up, that the dishes are done. You have to make people breakfast. And that's what, when you accomplished everything, then you can rest. Then you're allowed to, be able to, once the chores are done, then you're able to finally relax. And it makes us feel like the more we accomplish, the more deserving we are of that. Keep
Mm-hmm.
going and going and going until we're running on fumes.
It's like we tend to put ourselves last when putting ourselves first
Yeah.
is actually the thing that's going to fuel us to be the best us we can be. And sometimes we just don't realize it until it's too late. Then, when our bodies finally say enough, we call ourselves lazy, not tired, not overwhelmed or burned out, just lazy. Because that's all we see in that moment.
Mhm. 100%. I know, like, when I'm just relaxing, I'm like, "Oh, man, the dishes need to get done, the bathroom needs to be cleaned, I could clean
Hmm.
up the toys right now. Why am I not having my laptop out and working right now?" And I always feel like I have to be doing something. It's because productivity culture teaches us that rest has to be earned, that we're only valuable when we're producing something, and that mindset is dangerous. Know you have experienced this firsthand. I know that. Make sure to tell us about that.
As a fitness professional, movement is literally a part of my brand. Okay. People expect me to show up, to be energetic, motivated, and always doing something. And for a long time, I pushed through exhaustion because I thought that that's what discipline looked like. I can rest when I'm tired, right? I thought strength meant showing up no matter what. Okay. Then I had surgery, and my body made the decision my mind was not willing to make. It said, we're stopping. We're going to sit down. We're not moving because I couldn't push. I couldn't hesitate. I couldn't perform. I had to rest my body and listen to what my body needed. And honestly, it was very, very uncomfortable for me. The person who's used to moving all the time, doing all of the things, picking up, I just told Teresa today, picking up the big 10-pound bag, gallon of water, like doing these things that I don't have to ask anyone. Don't get me wrong, I have the help. However, I'm used to being so independent and doing these things. That was very uncomfortable for me. I had to step back and do what my body told me to do, not what my mind was telling me to do.
We need a whole podcast episode on hyper independence and
Mm.
uh, outcomes that that happens. Cause same. And that's because you weren't used to it. That's for sure.
Oh, not at all, not at all. I
Mm-mm.
realized I had confused discipline with self-abandonment. I was ignoring what my body needed and calling it commitment. I was committed to my job. But real discipline includes honoring your needs, not sacrificing yourself. And I'm learning that now.
100%. That's an important thing to learn.
Mhm.
So let's talk about some signs because somebody listening right now might think they're lazy when really they're just exhausted.
Absolutely. I've experienced some signs, okay? Kind of like you would say I was feeling tired no matter how much I slept, okay? Like I was getting 8 hours of sleep, but I'm waking up drained, struggling to focus, feeling irritated over the smallest things. Like, why is that net in my face? Anything small, like just bothering me, just
Mhm.
not enjoying the things that you normally love. Okay. Like doing dancing and just doing it because I had to, or constantly having a brain fog, feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who've experienced these.
Not at all. All of them, all of the above. And for me, another sign is resentment. When I
Mm.
start feeling resentful about everything and everybody, it's usually because I'm giving too much and resting too little. We talk about rest guilt as it's a real thing.
Oh, it sure is a very real thing. Sometimes women finally sit down and instead of resting, we spend the entire time thinking about what we should be doing. I have 5 minutes of space. I could probably fit in wiping out the microwave, or I could probably pick up this little bit of trash. But you need those minutes. Your body is telling you to rest, but your brain is saying, "Uh-uh, we could fit something in this 5 minutes."
Need to sweep. We need to mop. Let me just mop up real quick. Let me just get this spot right here. Let me just clean
Mhm.
up this counter real quick.
Yes.
When you're physically resting, but mentally you're still working, you're making lists. I know my brain, it will never just shut off sometimes. It's always like thinking about what's the next thing that we have to do? How do I have to get ready for this thing? How can I make this work? Okay, I have to perfect example. I'm having to pick up Anaya. We're meeting her father in halfway next week. And it's like, okay, you're here, I'm here. How am I gonna pick her up? What's the logistics? Where are we stopping? Where are we doing all of these things? And it's like trying to and then the other person actually commit to the plan, that's a whole don't even get me started on that one. You're feeling guilty, thinking about tomorrow. You just don't ever feel like you could be just in the moment, planning the
Mhm.
next thing.
Always worried about the next thing, not even listening to our bodies.
Yeah.
And that's because many of us have been conditioned to believe that rest equals laziness. But rest is actually maintenance for your body. It's
Mhm.
fully necessary, it's healthy, it's human.
That is for sure. And what signs tell you that you're exhausted?
For me, I stop feeling connected to myself. I become short tempered. I stop enjoying things, like I said earlier, the things I love to do the most. I start
Mhm.
operating from obligation instead of joy, the things I need to get done instead of the things I want to do.
Yeah.
What about you, T?
I start feeling like everything is urgent. You already
Mm.
know. I have to do this and this and this and this and this and this right now. Things like an emergency. And that's usually my sign that I've been pushing too hard.
Okay, so how do you know when you're pushing too hard?
When my body is asking for rest, but my mind is trying to negotiate one more task, one more
Uh,
email, one more responsibility. Let me get this one more thing done. One more thing. That's usually my warning sign.
mm-hmm. Trying to squeeze in those things in those
Mhm.
little bit of minutes, and our body's trying to get us to rest.
Yeah.
So, what beliefs made rest difficult for you, would you say?
Honestly, believing that everybody needed me. Believing that if I stopped, everything would fall apart. Believing that I was the glue holding everything together. We already talked about it, the hyper independence, not being able to, like, just let go. How about you?
I would say believing my value came from whatever I produced, anything that I put out. And that took a lot of healing to understand that I have value in me, not just in the
Yes.
things that I come up with. You have to have value with yourself to understand that rest is okay. I deserve to not fill these 5 minutes up with sweeping the floor. I could sweep the floor in the next 20 minutes after I'm done resting. I deserve
Mhm.
that because I am valuable too, just as well as all of the products I induce, but I am not the product. And it took a lot of
Oof.
healing for sure. And I'm still healing through that path today.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, for me, it's been a lot of working with my life coach on just learning to like let go. And if I don't do it or it doesn't get done right now, because I grew up with a mom who was like, she would yell at you if you didn't get up right now, right when she said it, you had to get up. If she told you to take out the trash, it was right when she asked you to do it. And so that programming is in me to be like, if I ask someone for help and it's not done, or like looking at the clutter around me, it's like I have a toddler. And that oof, that's been hard. So
Um,
what I've learned from that is rest is productive. Rest improves the decision making. Rest improves creativity. That's a big one because as I
mhm.
tried to find more joy in my life, more just I told you the other a while ago of like just being able to dance in the while I'm cooking and not always listening to the podcast and not always listening to all of the things, but actually turning my brain off and finding enjoyment in the things that I'm doing improved my creativity so much. It's also improved my emotional regulation. I'm learning how to like just take a breath and let go. And it's okay if it's a mess because it can get cleaned up. And honestly, with a toddler, it will probably be better for it to be cleaned up once he goes to bed because then he's not just going to mess it up again. Rest isn't wasted time. That one is huge. It's just, when you're working a muscle, you have to rest. Like when I was cycling on Sunday, man, I would have jacked my legs up had I tried to go back and not give my legs time to rest. And so just remembering it's preparation for the next sprint that you're about to do.
And your body whispers before it screams. It
Mm,
gives you indications that of what's going on. The
yeah.
problem is most of us ignore. We ignore those whispers, the fatigue, the headache, the irritability, the emotional overwhelm. We ignore all of that until the body finally forces us to stop. And that can be through a panic attack, a nervous breakdown. We're gonna call it a crash out, like to be that big. It could just be a baby crash out. When I call like they call adult temper tantrums. Like when those things are happening, you need to listen to what your body is trying to say to you.
That's usually when burnout hits. And whenever I go through like a really big sprint, case in point, we had the Dream Life Summit in December. I was burnt out after that because I didn't take the time to have that balance in there. I was all go, 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 go. And by January, I couldn't do anything or wanted to do anything after that.
Yeah, and self-love sometimes it looks like stopping. Just stop it. Whatever you're doing, not
Mm,
quitting, not giving up, but just stopping long enough to listen. Rest is not a reward for becoming. Rest is a part of becoming.
or all of it. As we wrap up, we want you to reflect on two questions this week. What are you carrying that doesn't belong to you? It's somebody else's expectations. Maybe it's somebody else's responsibilities. Maybe it's somebody else's opinion.
And here's the second question. When was the last time you rested without earning it? Not
Mm.
because you finished everything, not because you checked every box, but simply because you deserved it. Sit with that. This week's Becoming Her challenge is simple. Don't add anything to your to do list. Remove something, one thing, delegate it, postpone it, say no to it, and let it go.
Becoming her isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about carrying less. You for spending this time with us. We hope this conversation gave you permission to stop calling yourself lazy.
And start recognizing when you're simply exhausted. You deserve rest. You deserve softness. You deserve support.
Week, we're going to be talking about a mindset that keeps so many women stuck. The poverty mindset isn't about money. Trust us, you'll want to hear this one.
Yes, I'm excited about that. And remember, self love is not something you earn, it is something you choose again and again every single day.
Make sure if you love this episode, hit the follow button and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to rate us 5 stars if you enjoyed this conversation. We love to hear from you in the reviews.